Man City are in a second Champions League final. I'm so gassed. We've just beaten Real Madrid 4-0. I actually can't quite believe how we've beaten Real Madrid. It was actually comfortable. I don't want to be too cocky. Almost those kind of last minute, last gasp kind of wins in a cup competition can be so exciting at the back end of it. But by the final 20 minutes, we were coasting. We were knocking the ball around. We've just beaten Real Madrid 4-0 in a Champions League semi-final. So proud of the side. So proud of the club. How far the club's come is absolutely unbelievable. I can't believe what I'm seeing from this City side. We are absolutely mesmeric to watch. How we destroyed Bayern Munich in the previous round, 3-0 at home, and then 4-0 against Real Madrid at home. Whoever says the Etihad isn't a fortress, isn't a dangerous place to play for these big clubs, then you're having a laugh. The treble's on. A treble that could potentially see us overtake Arsenal in the Premier League title race, beat potentially Man United in the FA Cup final, and Inter Milan in the European Cup final. These are serious football sides. We're not beating Wigan, with all due respect. These are massive cup competitions. These are massive league title wins for City. This is history in the making. I don't want to be too gassy, but I'm seeing my side play unbelievable football against real football sides. Let's talk about the first half. It was a real tight and edgy first 20 minutes. Courtois made a couple of big saves. Erling Haaland header. Rodri kind of scoops a ball across the face of goal. And there was that little bit of concern if you're a City fan thinking, is it not our night? Are they going to go at the other end and put a couple in and completely kill the atmosphere? Real Madrid could have done that. If they'd done that, I think the energy would have been flat. It would have felt, here we go again. But obviously, Bernardo Silva scores an unbelievable goal. A reverse ball comes in. It's in between the left-sided centre-back and the left-back. I think Camavinga's far too wide, gets caught out, gets played back into Bernardo Silva, and he smashes it into the roof of the net. It's an unbelievable goal. The way we work Real Madrid inside to out. They've never come across a side like City in the last 5 years. I don't believe it. I know Liverpool were fantastic in the final last year, didn't quite win it. They played some fantastic sides, but the way City control the ball and knock it around first time and realise when to put pressure on, when to move the ball quick, when to move the ball slow. And we did it against Real Madrid. It looked like a nothing opportunity, and then a quick first-time ball, De Bruyne, inside. And then Bernardo Silva's got so much space. We will talk about Real Madrid. I think they were defensively so poor today, so open. I think that's down to their midfield as well, but we will talk about it. And then obviously, very quickly after, Bernardo scores another header in knockout Champions League football action. Obviously scored a fantastic one in the previous round. It's an unbelievable cushioned header. It's it's the header that Haaland would want to score, that Aguero would have scored, a delicate striker's header, but Bernardo Silva makes it 2-0. At that point, the way we were playing, obviously I was nervous as a City fan, always will be sceptical. I actually thought, it's game over. It's game over 37 minutes into a Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid. Let's just talk about Real Madrid were. In that first half, they were blown apart. They were blown wide open. It was a little bit, I don't want to say embarrassing. I don't want to be too cocky. Of course, what can I say about Real Madrid in this competition for what they've achieved? But not starting Rudiger was a weird one for me. If you're a Real Madrid fan, you have to let me know in the comments why that kind of happened. Is it strategic? Is it fitness? I'm not so sure. But Rudiger would have been a bit more of a domineering presence. Obviously had a massive role to play in the Champions League final against City for Chelsea. I would have started him. Who am I to Ancelotti? But I would have started him. There's so much space between Camavinga and Alaba. A lot of Real Madrid fans that I was speaking to thought it was just going to be Alaba at left back and Camavinga gets cut out the squad. I think Tchouameni, I know he's not starting many games. Does he have a role to play in this game? I'm not so sure. They needed physicality in midfield. This did feel like a game where Real Madrid are at the back end of their legacy. Cruz looked a little bit tired. He hit the crossbar with a fantastic effort. I think he could have made it 1-1 or 2-1, one of those score lines, but it was a fantastic effort in the first half. But this looks like the end of an era for Real Madrid. Modric looked a little bit leggy. Benzema didn't touch the ball today. And then we're looking about these new young kids. I mean, I'm hearing all this about Vinicius, Rodrigo. When things were going wrong for Real Madrid, they were diving, they were rolling all over the place. They were as soft as you like, and they weren't standing up to the pressure. They weren't taking the ball, and they were soft. They were poor today. It's as simple as that. Second half, let's talk about it. Akanji gets a goal. Is it an offside? Is it an own goal potentially from Militao, flicked on from him? But Akanji, I think, is registered at least for scoring it, making it 3-0. At that point, it's just squad rotation for the next game. I mean, that's how it felt. Alvarez comes on, Phil Foden comes on, and see Manuel Akanji, at least potentially scoring the third goal for City. Obviously, a massive testament to how good he's been this season. He's been a powerhouse, and he's a centre back playing left back in the Champions League semi-final, and he was absolutely instrumental. I can't fault anyone for City today. I will quickly talk about the lineups before I wrap up. And then obviously, finally, a lovely moment. Julian Alvarez is the only striker for City to score in the two legs. Obviously, Haaland doesn't score in any of the games, but he had a big role to play, Erling Haaland. I think he drew defenders toward him. I think there was a lot of focus on him, and then Bernardo can pop up. Jack Grealish had a big role to play. De Bruyne could pop up in the first game. I think Erling Haaland was a bit of a black hole. He sucked people into him and allowed others to be a bit more free in this game. Whereas maybe last season, everyone had to contribute. Everyone had to work hard in the false nine system. And it didn't quite pay off. Let's just run through all the players today, and then we'll talk about the Champions League final. If you're new to the channel, obviously make sure you subscribe. Ederson in goal. Did he have much to do today? I'm not so sure. I mean, Courtois made some world-class saves, but he was absolutely... he didn't have much to do. There was a period I didn't even know Ederson was playing. It could have been an open net. I mean, we were so dominating Real Madrid's box for the first 40 minutes of the game. I mean, we pressed them back. It was a scintillating performance. At points, we had 80% possession for large swathes of the game. Kyle Walker at right back, he was fantastic today. There's a moment Vinicius breaks through, and he manages to bypass Vinicius' speed. I mean, he's quicker than Vinicius. And this guy's over 30. I don't know what he has for breakfast every morning, but he's absolutely incredible, Kyle Walker. And he'll now make a big case to play in the Champions League final. Or does Ake get back in if he's got now time to be fit? Ruben Diaz and Akanji, we'll talk about those two. Obviously, Ruben Diaz, another clean sheet for him. Since joining Man City, it's back-to-back Premier League titles. Obviously, if we are to still win it. And then 2 Champions League final appearances in 3 years. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely mental. This guy's one of the best centre-backs I've ever seen, and we have to keep him fit. We have to cherish him and Rodri and De Bruyne and make sure these lads, they're protected going into the FA Cup final. That FA Cup final could be a long one, could be a long slog, will be hot as well, obviously getting into the June months, and then the Champions League final after that. We have to be very careful how we structure the next few games. There's no question about it. Kanji, fantastic, of course. John Stones popping into midfield. There's a period where he's actually running at the Real Madrid back line by himself. He was kind of commanding the midfield. It's crazy to see a centre-back do that. But it's down to Guardiola's system, and it remains to be seen if Inzaghi can find a way of kind of breaking up our dominance of midfield, because we did it today against Real Madrid, no question about it. Rodri, one of his quieter games today, he kept the ball ticking. He was fantastic. There's no question about it. But actually, he gave the ball on to better players than himself, more talented players. And someone like Grealish, he was electric today. He was drawing fouls. The way he was pumping his arms when we won the game at the end, it means so much to players like him. These guys are working so hard for the squad. They all want to start in the Champions League final, and they will start based on form. And Jack Grealish has earned the right to start this Champions League final. And then we've got this kind of axis of Ilkay Gundogan, De Bruyne just behind Haaland. Absolutely fantastic. Ilkay Gundogan a little bit quieter today, but it was De Bruyne. So much went through him, including the first goal. I'm rewatching it now on the screen. Oh, the movement from De Bruyne. He finds a little space. He runs in and out. He gives it to Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne, you have to wrap him in cotton wool. Don't play him in the Premier League against Chelsea. Maybe a little bit against Brighton. Then rest him for Brentford. Then a little bit against Man United. That in and out. Keep him fresh for the Champions League final. I'd even throw the FA Cup final, of course. This is massive. Well, maybe not against Man United. And then finally, let's just talk about Bernardo Silva. Man of the match. Massive goals. Massive moments. We've got a squad operating as 6 or 7 world-class players. Obviously, Haaland quiet today, but Bernardo Silva is the big one. If you're into Milan, you're looking at Grealish, Haaland, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Rodri can all score big goals, have big moments. And there we are. We're in the Champions League final. Unbelievable. If you've watched this far, make sure you subscribe, or we'll be covering the Champions League final in every kind of way. Can't believe it. Love and life. We're in the second Champions League final in our history.